I used to believe I built my life on my own. Every promotion, every dollar, every success. That belief carried me for years, until the night my mother died. After she was gone, I opened a notebook she never expected me to read. What was inside changed how I see my life. And I realized the truth too late to thank her. If stories about family, sacrifice, and the truths we learn too late matter to you, listen closely. The phone rang at 3:47 a.m., and I had a sinking feeling before answering that my mother was dead. Not psychic intuition or some mystical mother-son bond. Just statistics. Nobody calls at that hour with good news. The screen glowed in the darkness of my penthouse bedroom with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city I had conquered, and displayed a number I did not recognize. My hand hovered over it. In that suspended moment, I could still live in a world where Elena Reyes was alive, probably asleep in that cramped apartment in Riverside, the one with the water stain on the ceiling she had been meaning to fix for 5 years. I answered. Mr. Reyes? This is Mercy General Hospital. I am calling about your mother, Elena Reyes. I am very sorry, but the rest dissolved into white noise. Clinical words. Cardiac arrest. Did everything we could. My throat closed. The city lights blurred into streaks of gold and red, like someone had dragged wet paint across my vision. When? My voice came out strangled. She was brought in at 11:43 p.m. She passed at 2:15 a.m. Mr. Reyes, she had your number listed as her emergency contact. We tried calling earlier, but I had been at Marcus Chen's party, celebrating the Silver Lake deal, 8 figures, my biggest yet. I had silenced my phone because Marcus was introducing me to a venture capitalist from Singapore, and you do not check your phone when someone's about to write you a check with 7 zeros. I am on my way, I said, and hung up. The drive to Riverside took 40 minutes. I made it in 26. The Porsche engine screamed through empty streets, past closed storefronts in sleeping neighborhoods, past the exit for Maple Street where I had grown up, where Mom still lived in that same apartment complex with the broken fountain and the landlord who never fixed anything. I had not been there in months. The hospital smelled like disinfectant, trying to mask something worse. A tired nurse with kind eyes led me through corridors that all looked the same, beige walls, fluorescent lights, the squeak of rubber soles on linoleum. She was talking, saying something about Mom's belongings, about arrangements, about a social worker who could help with, I want to see her. The nurse's expression shifted. Pity. I hated it. Of course. Room 247. Take all the time you need. The room was small, dim. A single window showed the parking lot, streetlights casting orange pools on asphalt. And there, on the bed, covered to her shoulders with a white sheet, was my mother. She looked smaller than I remembered. Her face was peaceful, but it was not true. She looked tired. Even in death, Elena Reyes looked exhausted, like she had been carrying something heavy for so long that her body had molded around the weight of it. I pulled a chair close, took her hand. It was already cool. I am sorry, I whispered. I should have, but what? Called more? Visited more? I called every Sunday. Well, most Sundays. When I was not traveling, and I was not closing deals. When I was not building the empire I had promised myself I would build. The one that would prove I was not just another kid from Riverside, who would amount to nothing. Her hand felt fragile in mine, like bird bones wrapped in paper. When has she gotten so thin? At Christmas, she had seemed fine. Tired, maybe, but fine. She had made tamales, her specialty, and I had eaten 3 while checking emails on my phone. She had smiled and said she was proud of me, said it like she meant it. I had stayed for 2 hours. A memory surfaced, unbidden. I was 7, maybe 8. I had fallen off my bike, scraped my knee so badly I could see white beneath the red. I had screamed for her, and she had come running from the apartment, still wearing her Denny's uniform, smelling like coffee and maple syrup. She had scooped me up like I weighed nothing, carried me inside, cleaned the wound with hands that never shook, never hesitated. You are okay, Mio? She said. I got you. I had believed her. Back then, I had believed she could fix anything. The nurse returned. Mr. Reyes, I have your mother's personal effects. There is something else. She left a box. Asked us to give it to you if anything happened. My stomach dropped. A box? She brought it in about 6 months ago. Said it was important, that you needed to have it. The nurse handed me a plastic bag with Mom's purse, her phone, her wedding ring. She had never taken it off, even though Dad had been gone for 33 years. And then a shoebox, wrapped in brown paper, my name written on top in Mama's careful handwriting. The handwriting I had seen on birthday cards I barely glanced at. On Christmas presents I had opened while distracted. On notes she had tucked into my lunch bag when I was a kid. Little messages I had thrown away without reading, because the other kids might see and think I was a mama's boy. Thank you, I managed. I did not open the box there. Could not. Instead, I sat with her until the sky outside turned from black to gray to the pale blue of early morning. I sat and held her hand and tried to remember the last thing I had said to her. It had been 3 weeks ago. A phone call. She had asked if I was eating enough, if I was getting enough sleep. I had laughed, actually laughed, and said, "Mom, I am 36 years old. I think I can take care of myself." "I know, Mio," she had said softly. "I know you can." Those were the last words I had heard her speak. I did not go home. Could not face the penthouse, the success, the evidence of everything I had built. Instead, I drove to Mom's apartment. I still had a key, though I could not remember the last time I had used it. The complex looked worse than I remembered. The fountain was still broken, now filled with dead leaves and trash. Someone had spray-painted something illegible on the wall near the mailboxes. The stairs to the second floor creaked under my weight, and the railing wobbled when I grabbed it. Apartment 2C. The door stuck when I tried to open it. Tyr always had. The frame was warped. I had to shoulder it hard. It gave with a groan, and I stepped into my childhood. The smell hit me first. Not bad, just Mom. Lavender from the candles she loved. The faint ghost of last night's dinner looked like rice and beans, a single plate in the sink, coffee, old books. Home. The apartment was exactly as I remembered. Same floral couch, the one with the spring that poked you if you sat on the left side. Same TV, ancient, the kind that was deep instead of flat. Same photos on the wall. Me at graduation, me at my first job, me receiving an award at some conference. She had framed them all. I had sent her the photos because she had asked, not because I thought she would actually display them. There were no photos of her. I set the shoebox on the kitchen table, stared at it. The brown paper was worn at the corners, like she had handled it often. My name in her handwriting, David Reyes. Not David, not Mr. Reyes, not the name on the business cards I handed out at networking events. Just the name she had given me, the one she had whispered when I was born, the one she had called out when I scraped my knee. I make coffee. Mom's coffee maker was older than some of my employees, but it worked. While it brewed, I opened her refrigerator. Sparse. Milk, eggs, some vegetables going soft. A Tupperware container with 3 tamales inside. She had made them recently. For me? Had she been planning to bring them by? The coffee finished. I poured a cup, added sugar, the way she had taught me, and sat at the table. The chair wobbled. Everything in this apartment wobbled, stuck, or needed fixing, and I had never offered to help. Never offered to buy her a new place. Never offered anything except those Sunday phone calls that had become every other Sunday calls, that had become whenever I remembered calls. I unwrapped the box. Inside, a leather ledger, worn at the edges, the kind accountants used before everything went digital. And beneath it, envelopes. Dozens of them, maybe hundreds, bound with rubber bands that had gone brittle with age. I opened the ledger. The first entry was dated September 1st. Nearly 18 years ago, the year I had moved out. The year I had gotten my first apartment, that studio in downtown that I had been so proud of, the one I had afforded because I had landed a job at Morrison and Associates, entry level but with potential. The entry read, rent, David's apartment, $850. Paid via money order, anonymous. He cannot know. He needs to believe he did this himself. My hands started shaking. I flipped the page. More entries. October. Rent, $850. Utilities, $120. November, rent, $850. Utilities, $143. December, rent, $850. Utilities, $167. Christmas gift to self from Secret Santa at work, $200. That Christmas, I had been so confused about that secret Santa gift. A $200 Visa gift card in my mailbox at work, unsigned. I had asked around, but nobody knew anything about it. I had spent it on a new suit for interviews. Thought I got lucky. I kept reading, page after page, year after year, every month, like clockwork. Rent. When I moved to a better apartment, the amount changed. $1,200. Then $1,500. Then $1,800. Utilities, internet, and other things. Things I had forgotten about. Car repair, $430. He thinks his mechanic gave him a discount. Student loan payment, $200. Anonymous payment, he will think it is an error in his favor. New laptop for work, $800. Left on his doorstep, note saying it is from the company. Medical bill from emergency room, $1,200. Paid in full, he will think insurance covered it. Every entry in her careful handwriting. Every entry, a piece of my self-made success that I had never made at all. My vision blurred. The coffee cup shook in my hand, and I set it down before I dropped it. The numbers kept coming. Thousands. Tens of thousands. I did rough math in my head, and felt sick. Over 18 years she had paid. What? 200,000? More? How? She worked at Denny's. She had worked at Denny's my entire life, slinging eggs and coffee for tips, coming home with her feet swollen and her back aching. Where had she gotten this kind of money? I flipped faster, looking for answers. Found them scattered through the entries. Extra shift graveyard. $87 after taxes. Sold grandmother's ring, $400. David never knew I had it. Second job, cleaning offices, midnight to 4 a.m. $200 a week. Skipped doctor's appointment. Used $150 for David's utilities instead. Ate rice and beans for 2 weeks. Saved $60. That last one was dated 3 months ago. I stood up so fast the chair fell over. Haste but tiny kitchen. My chest felt like someone was standing on it. She had been eating rice and beans. So she could pay my utilities? I made $400,000 a year. I drove a Porsche. I had a penthouse with a view that cost more per month than she made in 6 months. And she had been eating rice and beans. I picked up the ledger again, forced myself to keep reading. The entries became more sporadic in recent years. Not because she stopped helping, the amounts were still there, still regular, but because her handwriting had changed. Shockier. Some entries trailed off. Some were just numbers, no explanations. The last entry was dated 2 weeks ago. Final payment, David's parking spot, $200. He thinks his building gave him a discount for being a good tenant. He has always been good. So good. I am so tired. Beneath it, in handwriting that looked like it had taken enormous effort. I do not think I can keep doing this. Something is wrong. Heart feels strange. But David is doing so well. He does not need me anymore. He made it. That is all I wanted. For him to make it. The ledger fell from my hands. She had known. She had known something was wrong, and she had not told me. Had not gone to the doctor because she used that money for my parking spot. A parking spot I had barely noticed was discounted. A parking spot for a car that cost more than she had made in 5 years. I sank to the floor, put my head in my hands, and for the first time since I was a child, my chest caved in and the sound came out of me anyway, raw, helpless. I do not know how long I sat there, long enough for the coffee to go cold, long enough for the sun to climb higher, sending light through the kitchen window, illuminating dust motes that danced in the air like they had when I was a kid. When I would sit at the same table doing homework while Mom cooked dinner after her shift. Eventually, I stood, picked up the ledger, set it carefully on the table like it was made of glass. And then I looked at the envelopes. They were organized by year, each bundle label in Mom's handwriting. I picked up the first bundle, 18 years ago. Untied the brittle rubber band. The first envelope contained a receipt. Money order, $850, paid to Riverside Property Management. My first apartment. And a note, written on the back of a dentist receipt. September 1st. David moved out today. He was so proud, carrying those boxes up the stairs by himself. Would not let me help. Said he was a man now, had to do things on his own. He looked so happy. I did not tell him I paid his first month's rent. He needs to believe he did this. He needs that confidence. It is the only gift I can give him, the belief that he is capable of anything. I picked up an extra shift tonight, graveyard. My feet are killing me, but it is worth it. He is worth it. I opened another envelope, another receipt, another note. December 15th. David called today. Said he got a Secret Santa gift at work. $200. He sounded so excited. Said he was going to buy a new suit for interviews. Try to move up. I did not tell him I was the Secret Santa. I sent it to his office, made it look official. He has been wearing the same suit for 6 months. I noticed last time he visited. The cuffs are frayed. I sold Mama's ring to pay for it. She would have understood. She always said family takes care of family. Another envelope. Another piece of my false independence. March 3rd. David got promoted. He called to tell me. Said he did it all himself, worked so hard, proved himself. I told him I was proud. I am proud. But I also paid his rent for 6 months, so he could take that job that paid less, but had better opportunities. He does not know that. He thinks he sacrificed and made it work. In a way, he did. He just did not sacrifice alone. Started cleaning offices at night. Midnight to 4 a.m., then straight to Denny's for the breakfast shift. I am tired, but David is happy. That is what matters. I went through them all. Every envelope, every receipt, every note. 18 years of my mother's life, documented in careful handwriting that grew shakier as the years passed. Some notes were short, some were long, some were just observations. David is dating someone. Saw a photo on Facebook. She is pretty. I hope she is kind to him. David bought a new car. He posted about it. Said he worked hard and deserved it. He did work hard, but had paid his insurance for 3 years, so he could save for the down payment. He does not know that. David has not called in 3 weeks. I know he is busy. He is doing so well. I am so proud. But I miss his voice. That one was dated 2 years ago. I remembered that time. I had been closing the Riverside deal, working 18-hour days. I had meant to call, kept meaning to call. And then, 3 weeks became 4, became 6. And when I finally did call, she had answered on the first ring. Like she had been, waiting by the phone. Mio, she had said, and her voice had been so happy, so relieved, that I had felt a twinge of guilt. But only a twinge. I have been busy. She understood. She always understood. Another note dated 5 years ago. David said he is self-made. We were having dinner. Rare. He is so busy now. And he was talking about some article that called him a self-made success story. He laughed and said it was true, that he had built everything from nothing. I smiled and agreed. What else could I do? Tell him the truth? Ruin that pride? That confidence? No. He needs to believe he did this. He needs that strength for what is ahead. But sometimes I wish he knew. Not for gratitude. I do not want gratitude. I just wish he knew he was never alone. And he never had to be. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely hold the paper. I set it down, picked up another envelope. This one was thicker. Inside, stack of receipts and a longer note. David's company went public today. He's a millionaire now. He called to tell me. Said he made it. Said all those years of hard work paid off. I told him I was proud. I am. But I also paid his rent for 10 years. Paid his utilities. Paid his insurance. Paid for things he does not even remember needing. He asked if I needed anything. Said he could help me now. I said no. I said I was fine. What else could I say? Yes. David, I need help. I have been working 2 jobs for a decade to support you. I am exhausted. My heart does not feel right, and I cannot afford to see a doctor, because I used that money for your parking spot. No, I said I was fine. Because he needs to believe he did this himself, and because I love him more than I love myself. That is what mothers do. I could not breathe. The apartment was too small, too full of her, too full of evidence of my blindness. I stood, walked to the window, pressed my forehead against the glass. Outside, Riverside went about its day. People walking, cars driving. Life continuing like my mother had not just died. Like the world had not just revealed itself to be completely different from what I had believed. Self-made. Had called myself that. I had believed it. I had built an entire identity around it. The kid from Riverside, who made it out, who succeeded through pure determination and hard work. I had given speeches about it, interviews. I had mentored young entrepreneurs and told them the same thing. Nobody's going to hand you anything. You have to take it. You have to earn it. And the whole time, my mother had been handing me everything. And I have been too blind, too arrogant, too self-absorbed to see it. I turned back to the table. One envelope left, smaller than the others, newer, my name on the front, but this time with something else. Only if something happens to me. My hand hovered over it. I did not want to open it, did not want to read whatever was inside. Because this was it. This was the note the hospital had mentioned. The one she had never meant me to read. The one that only existed because she was gone. I picked it up. The envelope was light. Just a single piece of paper inside. I opened it. The handwriting was shaky. Recent. Maybe days before she died. Maybe hours. My dearest David, if you are reading this, I am gone. I'm sorry. I wanted more time. Wanted to see you get married, have children, grow old. But I am so tired, Mio. So tired. You are going to find the ledger. You are going to see what I did. And you are going to feel guilty. Please do not. Everything I did because I wanted to. Because you are the best thing I ever made. The only thing I ever made that mattered. You are going to think you were not self-made. You are going to think everything you accomplished was a lie. It was not. I just gave you a foundation. You built a house. You did the work. You had the talent, the drive, the intelligence. I just made sure you had a chance to use it. Do you remember when you were 7 and you fell off your bike? You scraped your knee so badly. You cried, and I carried you inside and cleaned the wound. You asked me if it would leave a scar. I said maybe. You said you did not want a scar. I told you that scars are just proof that you healed. That you survived something that hurt. This is going to hurt, Mio, finding out the truth. It is going to leave a scar, but you will heal. You will survive. Because you are strong. You have always been strong. I need you to know something. I need you to understand this. Really understand it. I never wanted your gratitude. I never wanted you to know. I wanted you to have the confidence of someone who made it on their own. Because that confidence is armor. It protects you. It lets you take risks. Dream big. Believe in yourself. If you had known I was helping, you might have doubted yourself. Might have wondered if you could really do it alone. Now you know you were never alone. But that does not make you weak. It makes you loved. I am sorry I did not tell you I was sick. I knew something was wrong. My heart has been wrong for a while, but going to the doctor costs money, and you need it. Well, you did not need anything. You are successful now. You are rich. But I could not stop. Could not stop helping. It is what I do. It is who I am. Your mother. I have one regret. Just one. I wish I had asked you to visit more. I wish I had told you I was lonely. But I did not want to be a burden. You were so busy, so successful. I was proud. I am proud. But I missed you. I missed my little boy, who used to sit at the kitchen table doing homework, who used to tell me about his day, who used to hug me like I was the only safe thing in the world. When did you stop hugging me like that? I am not telling you this to make you feel guilty. I am telling you because I want you to learn from my mistakes. When you have children, I hope you do, Mio. I hope you have a dozen. Do not let them drift away. Hold on. Not too tight, but tight enough. Let them know they are loved. Not just with money or help or sacrifice. With time. With presence. With words. Tell them you love them. I told you, but not enough. I should have said it every day. Every hour. I should have made you sick of hearing it. I love you, David. I love you more than my own life, more than my own comfort, more than anything in this world or the next. You are my greatest accomplishment, my greatest joy, my reason for everything. Do not waste time feeling guilty. Do not waste time wishing you had done things differently. Just live. Live fully. Love deeply. And when you think of me, do not think of the sacrifices. Think of the pride. Because I am so proud of you. Who made it, Mio, remade it together. All my love, forever and always, Mom. Yes, there are tamales in the freezer. I made them last week. They are your favorite. Heat them up when you miss me. And Mio, call your mother. Oh, wait, you cannot anymore. So call someone else's mother. Call your friends. Call the people you love. Do not wait. Do not assume there is always more time. There is not. There never is. The letter slipped from my hands. I could not see, could not breathe, could not do anything but stand there in my mother's kitchen, in the apartment I have been too busy to visit, surrounded by evidence of a love so vast and so quiet that I had never even noticed it. I had thought I was self-made. I had thought I had done it alone. I had thought I was strong. But I was just a man who had been carried his entire life by a woman who had worked herself to death, so he could believe he was flying. I stayed in the apartment for 3 days. Called my assistant. Told her I was taking time off. She sounded shocked. I never took time off, but did not ask questions. Maybe she heard something in my voice. Maybe she just knew better. I went through everything, every drawer, every closet, every box, looking for more pieces of my mother, more evidence of the woman I had never really known. In her bedroom closet, I found her work uniforms. 4 of them, identical. The Denny's logo faded from too many washings. They smelled like her. I held one to my face and breathed in lavender and coffee, and something else. Something that was just Mom, and I cried again. In her nightstand, I found a photo album. Pictures of me every age. Baby photos. School photos. Photos I did not even remember being taken. Me at my first job. Me at my college graduation. She had driven 6 hours to be there, sat in the back because she did not want to embarrass me in her Denny's uniform, drove 6 hours back that same night because she could not afford a hotel. I barely spoke to her that day. Too busy celebrating with friends. Too busy being young and free and ready to conquer the world. There were newspaper clippings, articles about my company, interviews I had given. She had saved them all. One article had notes in the margin in her handwriting. So proud. He is so smart. He gets that from his father. I had never known my father. He had died when I was 3. Mom never talked about him much, and I had never pushed. Too busy looking forward to look back. In the kitchen, I found her bills. Stacked neatly, organized by date. Rent, $650 a month for this apartment. She had lived here for 30 years. The rent had barely gone up. Utilities, minimal. She kept the heat low, the lights off when she was not using them. Phone bill, cheapest plan available. No internet, no cable, no subscriptions, no luxuries. And yet she had paid my rent, my utilities, my insurance, my everything. I found her bank statements. Her checking account had $247 in it. Her savings account had $83. That was it. That was all she had left after 18 years of supporting me. I made $400,000 a year, and my mother had died with $330 in the bank. On the 3rd day, I found her will. Simple, handwritten, everything to me, not that there was anything to leave. The apartment was rented. The furniture was old. Her car was a 1998 Honda with 200,000 miles on it. But there was a note attached to the will. David, do not sell my things. Give them to people who need them. The furniture, the clothes, everything. There is a family in 3B. The Johnsons. They just moved in. They have 3 kids and nothing. Give them whatever they can use. That is what I would want. And, Mio, the money in my accounts? It is not much. But take it and do something good with it. Not for me, for someone else. For someone who needs a chance the way you needed a chance. Pay it forward. That is all I ever wanted you to learn. I sat at her kitchen table, my kitchen table, The one where I had done homework and eaten breakfast and told her about my day back when I still told her about my day, and I made a list. Everything I had thought I accomplished alone. Everything she had made possible. My first apartment, my car, my education, my business, my success, my entire life. None of it was mine. All of it was ours, hers and mine, together. The self-made man was a myth, a story I had told myself, because it felt good, because it made me feel strong, because it let me believe I was special. But the truth was better, harder, but better. I was not self-made. I was loved, deeply, sacrificially, completely loved by a woman who had asked for nothing in return except the chance to see me succeed. And I had been too blind to see it. I buried my mother on a Tuesday. Gray sky, threatening rain, the kind of day that matched the weight in my chest. I had expected a small funeral. Mom did not have much family, a few cousins she barely talked to. Some friends from work. I had arranged everything at St. Catherine's, the church she had attended every Sunday, the one I had stopped going to when I was 16 because I was too smart for religion, too modern for tradition. I arrived early, stood in the parking lot, staring at the building. I had been here for her birthday once. Years ago. She had invited me to Mass, and I had gone to humor her, sat through the service, checking my phone, left immediately after. She had smiled and thanked me for coming. Like those 45 minutes of my divided attention were a gift. Inside, the church was already half full. I stopped in the doorway, confused. Who were all these people? An older woman approached me. She had kind eyes and gray hair pulled back in a bun. "You are David," she said. Not a question. "Yes. I am sorry. Do I know you? I am Margaret. I worked with your mother at Denny's for 15 years. She took my hand in both of hers. I am so sorry for your loss. Elena was. She was special. Thank you," I managed. "He talked about you all the time," Margaret continued. "Showed us pictures, told us about your successes. She was so proud. So proud." Her eyes filled with tears. "She worked so hard. Double shifts, triple shifts sometimes. We did tell her to slow down, to take care of herself. She would just smile and say she had something important to save for." My throat closed. "Did she? Did she ever say what?" Margaret's expression shifted. "Something like understanding. She said she was investing in the future. That is all. Just investing in the future." She squeezed my hand. "She loved you very much." More people approached, introduced themselves. Co-workers from Denny's, neighbors from the apartment complex, people from church. Each one had a story. "Your mother brought me groceries when I lost my job. Would not take no for an answer. Elena watched my kids when I had to work nights. Never asked for a penny. Your mom paid for my daughter's school supplies last year. Said every kid deserves a chance. She gave me her coat once. Middle of winter, when she saw me shivering at the bus stop. Took her coat right off and gave it to me. I tried to give it back, but she said she had another one at home. I do not think she did." Each story was a knife. Each one revealed another piece of the woman I had thought I knew, but had not known at all. The service started. Father Miguel spoke about Mom's faith, her kindness, her quiet strength. He told a story I had never heard. Mom had been volunteering at the church food bank for 10 years. Every Saturday morning, 4 hours, helping families in need. I had never known about that. She had never mentioned it. All those Saturday mornings when I would call, and she would say she was just running errands. After the service, at the cemetery, I stood by the grave and watched them lower her casket into the ground. The rain had started, light but steady. People huddled under umbrellas. I stood in the rain and let it soak through my suit. The expensive suit I had bought with money I thought I earned alone. Margaret approached again, handed me an envelope. "Elena gave this to me 6 months ago. Said if anything happened to her, I should give it to you after the funeral." She was specific about the timing. After, not before. I took the envelope. My name on the front. Another note I was not supposed to read until she was gone. "She knew," Margaret said softly. "She knew she was sick. We all tried to get her to see a doctor. She kept saying she would, but she never did. Said she could not afford it. But David." Margaret's voice broke. "She had money. We knew she had money. She was always helping other people. So why could she not help herself? I could not answer, could not speak, could barely stand. Margaret left. The crowd dispersed. Eventually, it was just me and the grave in the rain. I opened the envelope. David, if Margaret gave you this, the funeral is over. You have heard people talk about me. You have yearned things you did not know. Good. You should know. I had a life beyond being your mother. That I was a person with friends and faith and purpose. But you should also know that being your mother was the best part. The most important part. Everything else was just filling time till I could see you again, hear your voice again, know you were okay. I am going to tell you something now that I never told you when I was alive. Something I should have said but did not because I was afraid. I was lonely, Mio, so lonely, especially these last few years. You were busy. I understood. You had a life, a career, responsibilities. But I missed you. I missed you so much it hurt. Some days, the only thing that kept me going was knowing you were out there, succeeding, happy, even if you were not with me. I should have told you. Should have asked you to visit more, call more, just be present more. But I did not want to be a burden. Did not want to be the needy mother who could not let go. So I stayed quiet, stayed grateful for whatever scraps of time you could give me. That was my mistake, not yours, mine. I am telling you this because I do not want you to make the same mistake. When you love someone, tell them. When you need someone, ask. Do not suffer in silence thinking you are being noble. You are not. You are just being alone. I died alone, David. In a hospital room, in the middle of the night, I would like to believe, with strangers around me. I died wishing you were there. Wishing I had called you more. Wishing I had demanded more of your time instead of being grateful for whatever you could spare. Do not let the people you love die alone. Do not let them wonder if they mattered. Do not let them spend their last moments wishing they had asked for more. I love you. I forgive you. Thinking of it, there is nothing to forgive, really. You lived your life. That is what I wanted. But please, Mio, learn from this. Learn from me. Love loudly. Need openly. Live like time is short. Because it is. God, it is so short. Your mother, always I folded the letter carefully. Put it back in the envelope. And then I did something I had not done since I was a child. I knelt in the mud beside her grave. Put my hand on the wet earth. And I talked to her. I am sorry, I said. I am so sorry, Mom. I should have been there. Should have visited more. Should have seen what you were doing. Should have known you were lonely. Should have known you were sick. Should have known you needed me as much as I needed you. The rain fell harder. I did not move. I thought I was strong, thought I was independent, thought I had made it on my own. But I was just blind and arrogant, and so focused on proving myself that I forgot about the person who believed in me from the beginning. My voice broke. You died alone. You died alone because I was at a party, because I was celebrating a deal, because I thought my success was more important than your life. I pressed my forehead to the wet earth. I am sorry. I am so sorry. I love you. I should have said it more. Should have said it every day. Should have made you sick of hearing it. I stayed there until the rain stopped. Until the cemetery was empty. Until the sun broke through the clouds and cast long shadows across the graves. And then I stood up, covered in mud, and I made a promise. I would do better. Be better. Not for redemption, because there was no redemption for this. But because she had asked me to. Because her last wish was for me to learn from her mistakes. I would love loudly, need openly. Leave like time was short. Just like she advised. Because it was. God, it was so short. I went back to work a week later. My assistant had rearranged my schedule, pushed meetings, made excuses. When I walked into the office, people offered condolences. I nodded, thanking them. Went to my office and closed the door. The view from my window was spectacular. Second floor. Floor to ceiling glass. The entire city spread out below me like a kingdom I had conquered. I had stood at this window 1,000 times, feeling proud, feeling accomplished, feeling like I had earned every inch of this view. Now it just felt empty. My phone buzzed. Text from Marcus Chen. Glad you are back. Singapore deal is moving forward. They want to meet next week. This is huge, David. Career defining. Career defining. I had built my career on the belief that I was self-made, that I had clawed my way up from nothing through pure determination. Every interview, every speech, every mentoring session, I had told the same story. The kid from Riverside who made it out, who succeeded against all odds, who proved that hard work and talent were enough. It was all a lie. Not the hard work, not the talent, those were real. But the narrative, the self-made man, the lone wolf, the success story that needed no help, that was fiction. Comfortable fiction that let me feel special. I opened my laptop, pulled up my calendar. Meetings, calls, conferences. My life for the next 6 months planned down to the 15-minute increment. No gaps, no breathing room, no time for anything except work. When had I become this person? When had I decided that success meant filling every moment with productivity? That rest was weakness? That needing people was failure? I knew when. I knew exactly when. I was 23. I had just started at Morrison & Associates. I was hungry, ambitious, determined to prove myself. One of the senior partners, Richard Morrison himself, had pulled me aside after a meeting. "You have got potential, Reyes," he had said. "But potential is not enough. You know what separates the successful from the mediocre? The willingness to sacrifice. Family, friends, comfort, all of it. Who want to make it to the top? You have to be willing to give up everything else." I had taken that advice as gospel, lived by it, built my entire life around it, and my mother had paid the price. My phone rang. Marcus again. I let it go to voicemail. He called back immediately. I answered. "David, did you get my text? Singapore wants to meet next Tuesday. I know you just got back, but this is—" "I cannot," I said. Silence. Then, "What?" "I cannot meet next Tuesday. I have something else." "Something else?" "David, this is $100 million deal. What could possibly be more important?" I looked at the calendar on my screen. Next Tuesday. The date I had circled in red. The date I had marked as non-negotiable. "It is my mother's birthday," I said. "She would have been 63. More silence. "David, I am sorry about your mom. I really am. But she is gone. And this deal is happening now. We cannot reschedule. And then do it without me. Without you? You are the face of this deal. They want to meet you. They want—" "Marcus." My voice was steady, calm. "I am not coming. Reschedule it or do it without me. I do not care which. But I am not spending my mother's birthday in a conference room pretending that money matters more than she did." "This is career suicide," Marcus said. "You know that, right? You walk away from this, and people will talk. They will say you are not serious, not committed." "Good," I said. "Let them talk. Let them say whatever they want. I am done living for other people's opinions of my commitment." I hung up, turned off my phone, and for the first time in 18 years, I left the office at noon. I drove to Riverside, parked in front of Mom's apartment complex. The broken fountain, the graffiti, the wobbly stairs, all of it exactly the same. I had been avoiding this place since the funeral. Too many memories, too much guilt. But today was her birthday, and I promised myself I will spend it here. In the place she had lived, the place she had loved, because it was home. I climbed the stairs to 2C, the door still stuck. I shouldered it open and stepped inside. The apartment smelled stale now. No lavender, no coffee, just the musty scent of a place that had been empty too long. I opened windows, let in fresh air, and got to work. I had made a decision. I am not selling Mom's things. I am not donating them to strangers. I was keeping this apartment, keeping it exactly as she had left it. A place I could come to when I needed to remember, when I needed to feel close to her. I had already talked to the landlord, offered to pay a year's rent up front. He had been shocked. Nobody paid up front in Riverside, but he did agree. The apartment was mine now. Mom's apartment. Our apartment. I spent the afternoon cleaning, dusting, organizing. I found more photos, more notes, more evidence of the life she had lived while I was busy building mine. In the kitchen, I found the tamales she had mentioned in her letter. In the freezer, tucked beneath everything else, wrapped carefully, labeled with the date. I heated them up, sat at the kitchen table, ate them slowly, savoring every bite. They tasted like childhood, like Saturday mornings and birthday parties and the rare times when Mom had a day off and we would spend it together, just the two of us, talking and laughing and being a family. When had we stopped being a family? When had I decided that success meant leaving her behind? There was a knock at the door. I opened it to find a woman about Mom's age holding a casserole dish. "You are David," she said. "I am Rosa. I live in 3A. I saw your car and thought, well, I thought you might be hungry." "Thank you," I said, taking the dish. "That is very kind." "Your mother was kind to me," Rosa said. "When my husband died, she brought me food every day for a month. Would not let me be alone. Would not let me give up." Her eyes filled with tears. "I am sorry I was not there when she needed someone. I did not know she was sick. She never said." "She did not tell anyone," I said softly. "That was her way, taking care of everyone else, never asking for help." Rosa nodded. "She talked about you all the time, said you were doing so well, said she was so proud." She paused. "She never said she was lonely, but I could see it in her eyes. Her eyes light up when you called. And then after you hung up, she would look empty, like the light went out." The words hit like a punch. I should have called more. "Yes," Rosa said simply. "You should have. But she loved you anyway. That is what mothers do. We love you even when you break our hearts." She left. I stood in the doorway, holding the casserole, and I understood something I had never understood before. Love is not just a feeling, it is a choice. A daily choice to show up, to be present, to put someone else's needs before your own. Mom had made that choice every day for 18 years. For my entire life, really. And I had taken it for granted. I had thought love was something you felt, something that just existed, like gravity. But it was not. It was something you did, something you built, something you maintained. And I had let it crumble through neglect. I started going through Mom's financial records more carefully. Not just the ledger, everything. Bank statements, credit card bills, tax returns. Building a complete picture of her financial life. What I found made me sick. She had taken out loans, small ones, from payday lenders, the kind with predatory interest rates. She had borrowed $500 here, $1,000 there, always paying it back, always on time, but always at a cost. One loan, taken out 5 years ago, $2,000 at 400% APR. The paperwork showed she had paid it back over 2 years. Total amount paid, $8,000. The date of the loan matched an entry in the ledger. David's car insurance to $2,000. He thinks he got a discount for good driving. She had taken out a loan with a 400% interest rate, so I could save money on car insurance. For a car I did not even need. A luxury car I had bought, because I wanted it, not because I needed it. I found more. Credit card debt, carefully managed, never late, but always there. Always accruing interest, always costing her more than the original amount. And then I found something else. Medical bills. Old ones, from 10 years ago. A hospital stay, emergency room, the diagnosis. Exhaustion and malnutrition. She had collapsed at work, been taken to the hospital, stay for 3 days. The bills totaled $15,000. Insurance had covered some, but she had been left with $6,000 out of pocket. The date matched an entry in the ledger. Skipped payment this month. In hospital. We'll catch up next month. She had been hospitalized for exhaustion and malnutrition, from working too hard and eating too little so she could support me, and her first thought had been about catching up on my rent. I sat on her bed, surrounded by papers, and I wanted to scream. Wanted to go back in time and shake my younger self. Wanted to force him to see what was happening, to see what his ambition was costing. But I could not go back, could only go forward, could only try to make meaning from the wreckage. I made another list. This one was different. This one was about what I was going to do next. First, I was going to find every person Mom had helped, every neighbor, every coworker, every stranger she had given her coat to or bought groceries for or watched kids for. And I was going to help them. Not with money, though I will use money where it was needed, but with time, with presence, with the kind of attention Mom had given freely and I had hoarded like a miser. Second, I was going to change how I did business. No more self-made narrative. No more pretending I had done it alone. I was going to tell the truth, the whole truth, about Mom, about her sacrifice, about the myth of the self-made man. Third, I was going to start a foundation, in Mom's name, to help single parents, to pay rent, utilities, school fees, to give them the kind of support Mom had given me, but openly, with dignity, with acknowledgement. Fourth, I was going to live differently, work less, connect more, be present, be human, be the kind of person Mom had raised me to be before I decided that success meant leaving humanity behind. I pulled out my phone, turned it on for the first time in days. Hundreds of messages, emails, voicemails, all of them about work, about deals, about money. I deleted them all, every single one. And then I made a call. Marcus, it is David. I need to talk to you about the company, about my role, about what I am willing to do and what I am not willing to do anymore. David, if this is about Singapore, it is about everything, I said. It is about the fact that I have been living wrong, working wrong, prioritizing wrong, and I am done. I am done sacrificing the things that matter for the things that do not. What are you saying? I am saying I want to restructure. Step back from day-to-day operations. Focus on strategy, on vision, on the big picture. And I want to use my position to do something meaningful, something that would make my mother proud. Silence. Then, your mother would be proud of what you have already built. No, I said, she would be proud of who I could become, and I am not there yet. But I am going to get there, with or without the company. That sounds like a threat. It is not a threat. It is a promise. To myself. To her memory. More changing, Marcus. The only question is whether the company changes with me. I hung up. Felt lighter than I had in years. Like I had been carrying something heavy and had finally set it down. 3 months later, under hot lights and the click of cameras, I stood in front of a room full of reporters and announced the Elena Reyes Foundation. I had spent those 3 months working harder than I would ever work, but differently, with purpose, with meaning, with Mom's voice in my head, guiding me. The foundation's mission was simple: to support single parents, to pay rent, utilities, school fees, to provide the kind of invisible support Mom had provided me, but openly, with dignity, with acknowledgement. But more than that, the foundation would tell stories, would highlight the sacrifices single parents made, would challenge the myth of the self-made person, would remind people that success is never individual, that we all stand on the shoulders of people who loved us enough to lift us up. At the press conference, I told Mom's story, all of it. The ledger, the payments, the loans, the sacrifice, the loneliness, the death. I told him about my arrogance, my blindness, my belief that I had done it all alone. And I told him about the lesson I had learned too late, that love is the foundation of everything, that without it, success is just an empty word, that the people who support us in silence deserve to be celebrated in public. The room was silent when I finished. Then someone started clapping. Then another. Then everyone. Standing ovation. Cameras flashing. Reporters shouting questions. But I was not looking at them. I was looking at the photo I had placed on the podium. Mom, smiling, wearing her Denny's uniform, looking tired but happy. Looking like herself. This foundation is my way of saying thank you, I said into the microphone. Not just to my mother, but to every parent who sacrifices in silence. Every person who works 2 jobs so their kid can have one. Every person who goes without so someone else can have more. You are the real success stories. You are the real heroes. And it is time we started treating you that way. After the press conference, I went back to Riverside, to apartment 2C. I have been spending more time there. I had moved some of my things in. Was thinking about making it my primary residence. The penthouse was on the market, quietly, without ceremony. I did not need it, did not want it. It represented everything I have been trying to escape. The isolation, the ego, The belief that height equaled worth. I wanted to be closer to the ground, closer to real people, closer to the life Mom had lived. Razan knocked on the door. She had been doing that more often, bringing food, checking on me, mothering me in the way Mom would have wanted. I saw your press conference, she said. Elena would be so proud. I hope so, I said. I am trying. I am really trying. She knows, Rosa said. Wherever she is, she knows. We sat at the kitchen table, ate the food she brought, talked about Mom, about life, about the neighborhood, about the things that mattered, and for the first time in 18 years, I felt like I was home. 6 months after Mom's death, I did something I have been putting off. I wrote her a letter, knowing she would never read it, knowing it was just for me, but needing to say the things I have never said when she was alive. Dear Mom, I am sitting at your kitchen table. Our kitchen table. The one where I did homework and ate breakfast and told you about my day, back when I still told you about my day. It has been 6 months since you died. 6 months since I found the ledger. 6 months since my entire understanding of my life changed. I want to tell you what I have been doing, what I have learned, what I am trying to become. The foundation is doing well. We have helped 200 families so far, paid rent for single parents, covered utilities, bought school supplies, given people the kind of support you gave me, but openly, with acknowledgement, with dignity. Every time we help someone, I think of you. Every time I write a check, I remember all the checks you wrote, all the money orders, all the anonymous payments, all the sacrifices you made so I could believe I was strong. I was strong, but only because you made me strong, only because you gave me a foundation to build on. I am living differently now, working less, connecting more. I have dinner with Rosa twice a week. I volunteer at the church food bank on Saturdays, the one where you volunteered for 10 years without telling me. I am getting to know the neighbors, the people you knew, the people you helped. They all have stories about you, about your kindness, your generosity, your quiet strength. And every story is a reminder of how little I knew you, how little I paid attention, how much I missed. I am sorry, Mom. I am so sorry. I know you said, there is nothing to forgive. But I need to say it anyway. I am sorry I was not there. Sorry I did not visit more. Sorry I did not see what you were doing. Sorry I let you die alone. I am sorry I took your love for granted. Sorry I thought I was self-made. Sorry I was too proud to see the truth. But I am trying to do better. I am trying to be the person you raised me to be. The person you believed I could be. I am telling your story. Everywhere I go, every speech I give, every interview I do, I tell people about you, about your sacrifice, about the myth of the self-made person, about the importance of acknowledging the people who lift us up. Some people do not like it. They say I am being too vulnerable, emotional, that I am hurting my brand by admitting I had help. But I do not care. Your story deserves to be told. Your sacrifice deserves to be acknowledged. And if that hurts my brand, then my brand was not worth protecting. I am also trying to live the lessons you taught me, the ones I ignored for so long. Love loudly. I am trying. I am calling people, visiting people, telling them I care. It feels awkward sometimes, uncomfortable, but I am doing it. Because you were right. Life is too short to love quietly, need openly. This one's harder. I have spent my whole life pretending I did not need anyone, pretending I was strong enough alone. But I am learning to ask for help, to admit when I am struggling, to let people in. Live like time is short, because it is. God, Mom, it is so short. You were only 62. That is not old. That is not enough time. We should have had more time. I should have given you more time. But I cannot change the past, can only change the future, can only try to make sure other people do not make my mistakes. I miss you. I miss you so much it hurts. Some days, I pick up the phone to call you before I remember you are gone. Some days, I cook your recipes and pretend you aren't in the kitchen with me, telling me I am doing it wrong. Some days, I just sit in your apartment and cry. But some days are good. Some days, I feel you are with me, in the work I am doing, in the people I am helping, and the life I am trying to build, a life that would make you proud. I hope I am making you proud, Mom. I hope wherever you are, You can see what I am doing. See that I finally understand. See that your sacrifice was not wasted. I love you. I should have said it more. Should have said it every day. Should have made you sick of hearing it. I love you, Mom. Thank you for everything. Thank you for the sacrifices. Thank you for the love. Thank you for believing in me, even when I did not deserve it. Thank you for being my mother. Your son, always. David folded the letter, put it in an envelope. And then I did something that felt right, even though it was impossible. I drove to the cemetery, stood by her grave, and I read the letter out loud. The wind picked up as I read, rustling the trees, carrying my words away. And maybe it was just the wind. Maybe it was just my imagination. But I swear I felt something. A presence. A warmth. A sense that she was there, listening, understanding. When I finished, I buried the letter next to her grave. Let the earth take it. Let it rest with her. And then I went home. To Riverside. To apartment 2C. To the place where Mom had lived and loved and sacrificed. To the place where I was learning to do the same. I am 54 now. 10 years older than Mom was when she started the ledger. When she made the decision to support me in secret. To give me the gift of believing I was self-made. I understand her better now. Understand the love that drives a parent to sacrifice everything. Understand the pride that comes from watching your child succeed. Understand the loneliness that comes from being needed less and less. I have children now. 2 of them. Elena, named after her grandmother, is 16. Miguel, named after the priest who gave Mom's eulogy, is 13. I tell them about their grandmother constantly. Show them the ledger. Read them her letters. Take them to Riverside, to apartment 2C, which I have kept exactly as she left it. A museum, a memorial, a reminder. They know the story, know about the sacrifices, know about the myth of the self-made person, know that success is never individual. And I am trying to raise them differently than I was raised. Not because Mom did it wrong. She did everything right. But because I want them to see the support they are getting. Want them to acknowledge it. Want them to understand that being helped does not make you weak. It makes you loved. The Elena Reyes Foundation is still going strong. We have helped over 10,000 families now. Paid millions in rent, utilities, school fees. Given people the support they need to succeed. But more than that, we have changed the conversation. Challenged the myth of the self-made person. Reminded people that we all need help. That accepting help is strength, not weakness. That acknowledging the people who support us is honor, not shame. I still work. Still run my company. But differently. I work 40 hours a week, not 80. I take vacations. I am present for my kids. I have dinner with my family every night. And every Sunday, I go to Riverside, to apartment 2C. I sit at the kitchen table and I talk to Mom. Tell her about my week, about the kids, about the foundation, about life. Sometimes Rosa joins me. She is 80 now, moving slower, but still sharp. Still kind. Still mothering me the way Mom would have wanted. Helena would be so proud, she says every time. So proud of the man you have become. I hope she is right. I hope Mom can see what I have built. Not the company, not the money, not the success, but the life, the connections, the love, the things that actually matter. Last week, Elena, my daughter, asked me about the ledger. She has been reading it, studying it, for a school project about family history. Dad, she said, why did Grandma do it? Why did she sacrifice so much? I thought about it, really thought about it, and then I told her the truth. Because that is what love is, I said. Love is not just a feeling. It is a choice, a daily choice to put someone else's needs before your own. To sacrifice without expecting anything in return. To give freely and completely. But she died alone, Elena said. She died lonely. Was it worth it? The question hit me hard, because I had asked myself the same thing 1,000 times. Had Mom's sacrifice been worth it? Had her loneliness been justified? Had her death been meaningful? I do not know, I said honestly. I think she would say yes. I think she would say that seeing me succeed was worth any price. But I also think she would want me to learn from her mistakes. To love openly, not just quietly. To ask for what I need. To not suffer in silence. So what is the lesson? Elena asked. The lesson is balance, I said. Love people enough to sacrifice for them. But also love yourself enough to ask for what you need. Support people, but also let them support you. Give freely, but also receive gracefully. Did you learn that? She asked. I am learning it, I said. Every day, I'm still learning. She hugged me then, held on tight. And I held her back, remembering Mom's question from her letter. When did you stop hugging me like that? I would never stop. Would never let my children drift away. Would never let them wonder if they mattered. Would never let them feel alone. That was Mom's final gift to me. Not the money, not the support, but the lesson. The understanding that love requires presence. That sacrifice without connection is just martyrdom. That the people we love need to know they are loved. I tell my children I love them every day, multiple times a day, until they roll their eyes and say, Dad, we know. And then I say it again. Because Mom was right. You can never say it too much. I am writing this now, sitting at Mom's kitchen table, because I want to remember, want to document, want to make sure that when I am gone, my children understand the full story, understand where they came from, understand the sacrifices that made their lives possible. But more than that, I want them to understand the lesson, the real lesson, the one it took me 18 years and my mother's death to learn. We are not self-made. None of us. You're all the product of countless sacrifices, countless acts of love, countless people who believed in us when we did not believe in ourselves. The question is not whether we had help. We all had help. The question is whether we acknowledge it, whether we honor it, whether we pay it forward. I am trying to pay it forward, through the foundation, through my children, through the way I live my life. And every day, I hope Mom can see it. Hope she knows that her sacrifice was not wasted. That her love changed everything. That her quiet devotion created ripples that will last for generations. I miss her. Will always miss her. But I am grateful. Grateful for the time we had. Grateful for the lessons she taught. Grateful for the love she gave. And I am trying, God, I am trying, to live in a way that honors her memory, to be the person she believed I could be, to love the way she loved, quietly when necessary, but loudly when possible. Because that is what she deserved, what she always deserved. To be loved loudly, to be acknowledged, to be celebrated. I am sorry it took me so long to understand that, Mom. But I understand it now. And I am spending the rest of my life making sure other people understand it too. Thank you. For everything. For the sacrifices. For the love. For the quiet devotion that made my life possible. I love you. I will always love you. And I will make sure your story is never forgotten. Your son, forever grateful, David. The Elena Reyes Foundation has helped over 10,000 families and counting. Because no one should have to sacrifice in silence. No one should have to succeed alone. If this story moved you, do not let it end here. Call your mother. Call your father. Call someone who loves you. And if you believe stories like this matter, please like, share, and subscribe. I share stories regularly. Thank you for listening. On the screen is another life story I highly recommend.